Good morning, live in Hartford at the state capitol, where we are commemorating the 150th anniversary of the Civil War. So without further ado, we're going to kick off the events live here for you on Fox Connecticut.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Matt Warshauer. I'm a professor of history at Central Connecticut State University, and I'm the co-chair of the Connecticut Civil War Commemoration Commission. It's important that I begin this morning with a brief but very appreciative note to our sponsors. Without organizations like the Connecticut Civil War Commemoration Commission, the Connecticut Humanities Council, the Connecticut Commission on Culture and Tourism, the Connecticut State University System, and very importantly, Travelers Insurance, which has a deep Civil War history and a lasting commitment to education and community, we would be unable to gather together at momentous occasions like the one that presents itself today. And why are we here? We are here at the Connecticut State Capitol, a place that is steeped in Civil War history, to commemorate the 150th anniversary of the Confederate firing on Fort Sumter, which began a 4-year war that challenged the very life of our nation. At 4:30 this morning, the moment that Southern guns opened fire on Fort Sumter, the people of Charleston, South Carolina began their own remembrance of this day's historic events. They fired their cannons at 7 a.m. this morning, the time when Major Robert Anderson, the Union commander of the fort, actually returned fire on the South. Today in Hartford, we remind the nation that the North too, and New England in particular, remembers this important day. We are the Northern response. Yet the truly important opportunity for all of us today is one of contemplation. We are faced with a deceivingly simple question. What is the value of our Union? I do not mean 150 years ago. I mean today. It should not be missed that as we begin the sesquicentennial commemoration of the Civil War, our government is on the verge of shutdown, with partisan strife at a fever pitch and distinct efforts to turn us toward what divides. This cannot be. Let us remember the value of what this nation began some 235 years ago. Let us consider more of what we have in common than what we do not. Let us, in the words of Abraham Lincoln, dream of a place and a time where America will once again be seen as the last best hope of Earth. Please join us as part of the American family and as a proud resident of the state of Connecticut in learning over the next 4 years what happens when we allow discord to rise above, as Lincoln said, the better angels of our nature. Thank you. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce our governor, Dannel P. Malloy. The history community is particularly pleased to have as our chief executive someone who possesses a keen interest in history. I also appreciate the governor taking a moment out of what we all know is a tremendously busy schedule to be with us today. Governor Malloy is facing daunting, historic challenges, and in my opinion, doing it with goodwill and a tireless effort to be fair. What more can we ask from our chief executive in times such as these? Please join us, and please join me in welcoming Governor Malloy.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for that generous introduction. I very much appreciate it. Thank you all for joining us this morning as we mark Connecticut's celebration of the Civil War. And that sounds strange, but it did form a more perfect union as a result of the battles that waged over a 4-year period of time. Connecticut played a very large role in the Civil War. 55,000 men, 12% of Connecticut's population then of 461,000 people, or 47% of all men between the ages of 15 and 50 served in the Civil War from this state. Our own governor, who was then the 41st governor, William A. Buckingham, was a staunch supporter of the Union and a supporter of Abraham Lincoln's war efforts, and he was instrumental in the Union's wins in the war. Connecticut's factories supplied much of the necessary tools of the war, from munitions to clothing to rubberized tents to keep the rain out. We were a supplier of that war, as we had been of the Revolutionary War. And untold numbers of women contributed in their own way, making sure that the men that they sent off to war were as comfortable as possible, and of course contributed money and belongings to the war effort. I should also note that as we gather here from various communities throughout the state of Connecticut, there are over 130 memorials, statues, and plaques spread throughout Connecticut, marking the contributions of the Connecticut individuals, the people we sent to war, including one of the most beautiful of all Civil War monuments here in Hartford. With that, I would like to thank you for being part of our living history. We cannot forget the battles of the Civil War. That which divided us at this very moment 150 years ago has been put aside. And perhaps the final battle of civil rights having begun 50 years ago, we can honestly say we have made dramatic progress. But let us all stand ready to protect the rights of our fellow human beings, our fellow Americans. Let no one divide us. Let us come together as we mark this 150th anniversary of the beginning of perhaps America's greatest war. Gentlemen, man your guns.
Company, present arms.
These artillery units we have here are Morton's Battery of Connecticut. They have 2 cannons. Dannel's Battery, also with 1 cannon here this morning. Richmond Housewitzers. Jackson's Flying Artillery. 55 Virginia Artillery. The 1st Connecticut Light Artillery. And Litchfield Light Artillery. We're also joined this morning by infantry units, 40 to 50 infantry reenactors, 10 of whom are forming a color guard unit here. We've got the 11th Regiment Connecticut Volunteers along with the 14th and 2nd Regiment Connecticut Volunteers, so a whole lot of folks participating this morning. So it all happened on this day, April 12th, 1861. This cannon firing here to commemorate it at the state capitol in Hartford, marking the 150th anniversary of the Confederate firing on Fort Sumter. It really did inaugurate 4 years of a bloody Civil War, a real trying moment for the nation and the Union and for Connecticut. All right, there you have it, guys. Really a step back in time here live in Hartford at the state capitol this morning, commemorating the 150th anniversary of the battle at Fort Sumter, really marking the beginning of the Civil War. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. We'll have more for you coming up this morning at 11. For now, I'm live at the state capitol. Audrey Kuchin, Fox, Connecticut.
That sounded very loud to us, Audrey. What was it like standing there?
The ears are ringing, no doubt about that, Logan. But what a neat experience. I've never had the opportunity to be at something like this, and you really do feel like you're stepping back in history.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of events this weekend too. All those are on our website, ctnow.com. You can also read articles that were in the Current on this day, and because the Current was there, the newspaper was there 150 years ago during the start of the Civil War. So it's amazing to look back, and we have that all on our website, ctnow.com.
Also, lots of Civil War movie suggestions on the website too, if you maybe want to watch a few and kind of get more of the knowledge of it. Rachel Lutzker, how are the roads?
All right, we've got a couple things going on right now.